We'll need the outlined paper that is with the berries and the branch. I have just taped it around. We'll need two paintbrushes. One can be a flat brush, one a round brush. But if you have any other paintbrush, you can use that too. We'll need a paint set. Mine is a little different from yours, but I think you'll have enough colors to work with. I'll let you know the colors that I have used. We'll need a cup of water, paper towel, and acrylic paint that Lynn must have provided you, and some cotton swabs. So, if you have cotton swabs at home, please use them. We will be using in the background. One, two, three, four, any amount that you have. And we'll need a paper plate later on at the end. So just keep it for mixing the color. We won't need it for mixing, but putting some white acrylic paint and paper towels. So for right now, before we start, I would love if you all can just keep your paper towel in front of you and I'll show you what to do with that. So one paper towel is enough. Just tear off a few pieces of the paper towel. I'm just tearing off one and make a ball out of it. The small little ball, we'll use it along with our cotton swabs. So I made one. I'm keeping it on the side. You can make as many small and big. I've made these kind of paper towel balls. I'm just keeping them aside. Keep your cotton swabs. I'm just preparing you with the things so that it's easier for you to access them when needed. Now, I think everyone must be ready with the supplies and we should start. In case you have any questions, I'm here to help. You can take your flat paintbrush now. Yes. Or any paintbrush which has a good amount of bristles. I have a round one here. Wet the entire paintbrush. We are wetting the entire paper now, even the berry part, even the outline part. We are just wetting it and we are going to apply wet on wet technique. I'll let you know while we are wetting what is wet on wet technique. I'm just adding strokes of water with the good amount of bristles on my paintbrush so that I can easily spread the water throughout. Now, you can either use strokes to spread your water or you can use dabs. If you see, I am putting the tip of the brush and pressing the brush around and spreading the water. Now, when you are seeing it, from far, I don't think you'll be able to understand if there is enough water, but see it from the side. See your paper from the side. You'll see a little reflection will let you know that how much water you have put. Just add a decent amount of water, and later, if you need more, you might be able to add more. And it's this technique is wet on wet technique. We are applying water on the base that is on the paper. We'll take some color on a wet paintbrush and then spread it around on the background. That's why, in short, it's called wet on wet technique. That is wet paintbrush with color on wet base. I think I have added good amount of water. In case I'll need more, I'll add more while I'm adding the paint. Dip the entire paintbrush, the one that you have used for applying water, you can use the same paintbrush. And I'm taking either this blue or this, whichever. This is the darker, this is the lighter. You can take any blue. Check it on the paper towel before you apply. It seems to be a medium shade. It's not that dark nor that light. So I'm going to start applying the shade from the bottom. And you can just see how I'm applying it. I'm putting the tip of my brush and pressing the brush. See, the color is spreading. In case yours is not spreading, take a little bit more water and make it spread. Now, we are trying to create a little background here, which we will try to fade out in some areas, and I'll let you know the technique that we will be using. But right now, just relax and keep on adding the paint from the bottom to the top. try that your bottom is a little darker and the top is a little lighter. Just try. If it doesn't work, keep on going. If you think you want to absorb the extra color, you can just dab with your paper towel and absorb the extra color. If you want to make the color darker, you can keep on applying more color. Keep on going. You don't need to cover the entire paper. Somewhere it can have white spots or white highlights from the paper. If you see the reference picture here on the screen, there is a little lighter version of the same color too. That is why we are using wet on wet technique so that we have a gradient touch throughout. We don't need a consistent shade. I think I have said a lot, but now if you want to ask any questions, please let me know. If you have any confusions, please ask me. I might be able to help you. Everyone is okay? Enjoying the wet on wet technique? So now here I can see my color is not spreading much. So if yours is also not spreading, just apply a little water and keep on spreading further. In between, if you want to refer to the picture, here it is. This is what we are making. We are making the background for this. Work at your own pace, enjoy the process, and trust the process. Now, you can even cover the berries. If you see, I'm covering the berries with the blue, but you see, they are not entirely being covered. That's what we want. We want transparency in the color. If yours is entirely covering the berry, you can use your paper towel and dab a little to absorb the extra color. You should be able to see the outline. That's what we need. I'll just show you the color that I'm using. Now here I feel my color has gotten very dark. So if that happens to you, you can just use some water and spread it further. We are covering the entire background with the blue. I'm using blue here because I want to use or try to create a sky effect in the background. I can see the top left part of my paper is getting dry. If that is happening to you too, you can apply a little bit more water because the water starts getting dried till the time we reach the next area or next portion. So wet it and then apply the color. Anytime if the screen is not clear or if I am not being heard properly, please let me know. And anytime if you want to show what you are doing or if you need some changes or you need some help, you can show me the painting too. I hope you all can see on my painting on the background, there is a gradient effect. Somewhere it's light, somewhere it's dark. That's how I'm trying to create a sky effect. Wherever you feel it's light, add a little bit more color. Wherever you feel it's too dark, dab it with a paper towel. Now, I know you all must be working on the background still, and some of you might have covered it all. I'll just give you an idea what we are going to do next. Make sure your base is still wet. If it has started drying, wet it a little bit more. Add some more water. The paper shape might change a little bit, but it will come back to its position later when the paper dries. Can I show you all the thing that we are going to do, even wherever, whichever part of the background you are? Just a few thumbs ups will be good. Okay, so quickly I'm showing you one effect and I'll let you know what it is called. Use your cotton swab. If you don't have a cotton swab, use your round paper towel or the ball. I'm using the cotton swab, it will have the same effect. I'm just going around with the tip of the cotton swab and absorbing the extra color, making kind of a circle. Let me bring it close to you. Somewhere here it's a little dark, it might be much more clearer. See, I'm just using my cotton swab, going around with the cotton swab and absorbing the extra color. I'm creating a bokeh effect here. It's spelled as Bokeh. If your cotton swab is not working, you can just use your paper towel and just go in a rounded way and create a circular highlight on your painting. If you want to make it a little bit more darker, just add little more color. In order to show it more clearer, I'm making it more darker so that you can see on the screen as well. Just use your the paper towel ball or your cotton swab. Move in a circular way and see. Do you see circular highlights forming?
Mm-hmm.
If yes, that is called the bokeh effect. Now, bokeh effect is if you take a picture on your camera, there is kind of a setting wherein you can highlight the main element. Here it's the berries, and the background gets a little blurry and faded. That's what we are trying to create, a blurry effect with watercolors. And that is called the bokeh effect. Anywhere you feel like, I want to add somewhere here. I'll show you soon how it came out. It got faded. I'll bring it to the back, like so that you can see it all. Anywhere you feel like. If you're using a cotton swab, change the cotton swab once it gets the blue on it because it will otherwise bring back the blue on the paper rather than taking it off. Now, this is called taking off the extra color. I'm using my round paper towel, going around with it. This is just a lighter version of the background that we are working with. We'll soon make the background a little bit more darker. Absorb the extra color, dab it, move it circular. You don't need to make too many circles here. Just a little effect or a highlight that you can create. Now, wherever you have made that circular effect, what you can do is, if everyone is ready, we have just added a few circular textures there. I don't want you to add too many to start with. Is everyone good to go to the next step?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Take your round paintbrush, the one which is a little thin and less bristles. Take that one and dip it in water. Take the same blue color that you have used for the background. I use this blue and I'll just check it on the paper towel. Wherever you have created that shiny effect, like if you see this one is much more clearer, go around with the tip of the brush with some same color that you have added on the background. Make a fine circle. I hope you all can see that on the screen. Now, in order to make it softer, don't make it like a ball. It shouldn't be too hard edged. If it happens, just clean your brush, take a little water, and go around it again with the brush itself. That way, it will get a little softer touch as if it is part of the background and it is shining through. Same way, we can do the same with all the other circular effects that you have created to highlight the shine a little more. If you like it the way you did in the first layer, you can keep it as is. But if you want to add a little bit more effect, see, I'm doing the same on this one, creating a circle around it so that the background gets darker and that circle stays light. And now I'm going to spread it around. Just use a little water. I know when we see the painting, it seems simple, but when we do it, sometimes it seems to be complex, but it's not. It's just that we are doing it for the first time. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to repeat this process. again. And in case you feel it's too hard edged, just dab it with a paper towel, the entire paper towel that you have, and it will give a little lighter version to the border of the circle. Wherever you feel that you are forming lines with the paint, like hard edges, if you see mine here on the screen, just add water and soften it. Now, wherever you feel like adding the bokeh effect, all you need to do is add a circle, as I'm doing on the screen, clean your paintbrush, use some water to spread the color around and create a lighter effect in the center. I hope whatever I'm saying is making sense and happening somewhere on the paper, on your watercolor paper. I'll soon go to the gallery view and see how you all are doing. We'll right now work on the circular areas and then we'll move to our berries part. So make sure that do whatever you can do on the top part first and then the bottom so that we let the top part dry and then we can soon work on the berries. But we have enough time, we can continue working on the bokeh effect right now. Wherever, now, as I said, this is just the first layer you did. And now we are working on the second layer. So, wherever you feel like adding a darker touch, you can just wet the base again and do the same process again. Add some more blue wherever you want a darker touch. And try to blend in the colors. Now, in case you feel you're not able to get that kind of a shine, it is okay because you're doing it for the first time. Keep on trying the other way around. Make a circle and make the background darker. That way, your circle will shine. I'll do that part again in case anyone missed it and couldn't follow. I'm making a round or a circle here. You can watch on the screen if you feel like, and then I'm spreading this color around so that I can have a shine in the center. And if you feel it's too dark or it's too hard edged, just use a little portion of the paper towel and lighten it. And that's what I'm doing here. I'll soon come to the gallery view and see you all how you all are doing. Also, I've put a masking tape around. So some color might be going on the masking tape if you have done the same thing. But when you'll take it off, you'll have nice fine edges around that will give a neat effect to your painting. While you all are working, I thought let me make a few more. And again, you can work on this effect even after you are done with the berries. So you can come back to the background again if you really feel like adding more effect there. So once you create a circle, you start adding water to spread it out. No questions at all? Everyone doing okay and enjoying? I'm just using my paper towel now. And if you see the reference picture, there are like 4 to 5 layers that I have added the same way. And that is when I got a darker effect. So don't worry about it in the first or the second layer. And I even did it after I did my berries. So right now I am just working on the background. Let me know whenever you are ready or you want me to wait. I have done working on my top portion near the berries so that I can let the top portion dry and we can easily start with the berries. I'll just, while we are working on the bottom part, I'll just let the top part dry. That's why I'm not going to the top part right now. But there is a way, though, to make it dry. I think we have enough time. We can wait too while you all are working on the background. I'm just making one more. So what we are doing is initially we tried to wet the background, added colors and tried to fade out in a circular way. But we can, the next layer what we did was we made the circle around the shiny effect and made the background a little darker for that shiny effect to shine more, to be seen more. Whichever way, because the first layer cannot be that dark. We need to make it darker by adding the second layer. Again, when your color is wet, when your background is wet, it will have a different effect. But when the background dries or your shades dry, the color will get a little bit absorbed in the paper and the water will get evaporated. So that way your color fades out and then you might want to add another layer. So let the color dry before you decide to add another layer. Should we start with the berries? Okay. As I said, we can come back to the background again. And I did that with my reference picture too. But make sure that the top part has dried. Mine is like semi moist. So if you really want to work on it right now, what you can do is dab a little bit with your paper towel around just the berries. It won't absorb the extra color because I feel mine is kind of semi moist. It's not absorbing the color, but it's just making it dry. The reason why I'm asking you to do that is because we want to work with a dry base. We don't want the berry shade to go in the background. I'm just doing a little bit of a softening of the circle. Clean your paintbrush, the round paintbrush, that is the thin one, which has a nice tip. We'll start working with I think we can start working with the branches. Now, for the branches, you can take a brown shade. I think that would be the best one to use. Dip the tip of your brush in water. No need to wet the base. We are applying dry on dry technique. Where the base is dry, you have a little water on the tip of your paintbrush and then you activate the brown shade. I'm taking brown. Check it on your paper towel and with very less pressure. First, just try a little bit. Your color shouldn't start spreading. That means your base is still wet. If it does, just dab it with a paper towel. I'm also trying to figure out which part is dried. If not, dab once more just to make sure. I'll start from the left hand side here. With the tip of my brush, I'm just outlining the branch. All I'm doing is putting one stroke over the other and making the branch. Try not to drag your paintbrush and try to add very less pressure on the brush. Keep on going with the branches. As many branches you have, just trace with your brown color on the pencil outline. And that's what I'm doing throughout. If you feel your palm is touching the color and it's like kind of making it a little messy, you can use a paper towel under the palm, put it on your paper so that you don't touch the color directly. I am going to my other branches. I'm working from left to right. You can work anyway. Whichever part is dry, just start work and work at your own pace. Again, for the branch, sometimes the first layer turns out to be lighter. You can add another layer once the first layer dries. So I think I have asked you to make so many branches. Even if you want to make less, you can. You can erase it later. Or if you want to make more, you can. You can add more. I'm almost done with the first layer for the branches. You want to make the branches a little thick, you can by layering one more stroke over the last one, or you can keep it thin. That's how my branches look like now. I can darken them later too, but I really want to show you the next element whenever you all are ready. While you're working on the branch, now I can see my background is drying and I can see a few hard edges forming. So after cleaning my brush, I am going over with the water over my circular shines that I had created to make it a little bit more smoother and softer. This will happen only when your color starts drying. So you can make sure once it starts drying, add some water, dab, whichever way you want to do to soften the layers or the hard edges. I hope everyone is okay. So that's why I said you can anytime, whenever, go back to your previous elements. I'm so excited to see all of your paintings. I know it's tough to pick up a painting, a watercolor one, while you're working on it, so I won't ask you to do that. Should we start with the berries?
Yes.
Yes. Great. Okay. I
Mhm.
thought I shall use the time to show you like a little bit more background, but let's do it. Okay. So you must have outlined the berries. They are circular, very easy to color in. Just make sure that your paintbrush is clean, dry, and no color on it. It's the same round paintbrush because it's a thin one. The thinner the brush, the better it is for smaller areas. You can take any shade of your choice, but I have made red berries as you can see in the reference picture too. And I'm thinking of using this light pinkish red color. You can use any red or pink color if you are choosing a reddish shade. We are going to apply another technique here. It's called wet on dry technique. Now, what is wet on dry technique? I think you all can figure it out. It's like wetting the entire paintbrush in water and taking your shade on the paintbrush, but your base is dried. So that's why it's a wet paintbrush with color on it on a dry base, which in short is called wet on dry. If you just want to make sure how your color looks, check it on your paper towel. I'm showing you a little bit more closer now. I'm starting with the bottom berry here. Make an outline. Also, make sure that your background is dried completely. If it starts spreading out, just clean it with a paper towel or dab it. I just made a little outline here. I am not covering it completely. I'm leaving some highlights from the paper itself. little space for a little shine to show up on my berries, like light is shining on it. And you can make this shine anywhere attached to your branch. Now, I told you about wet on wet technique. Wet on wet is one of the golden rules of watercolors. Another golden rule is that always start with a lighter shade of the color in watercolors and go to a darker shade. Third is try to get the white shade or shine from the watercolor paper itself, because the white watercolor paint doesn't work that much. So decide wherever you want to have a highlight, leave that space empty and go around it. And that's what I'm doing here with the berries. Now there are a lot of berries to work with. Just work at your own pace. I can see a little bit of color spreading, dab it around, and it will all just get lifted and faded. You can make some berries brighter than the other, some berries lighter than the other, depending on the proportion of color and water that you have taken. I think berries are the easiest part.
Good.
Just fill it in. Leave a little space for a shine and keep on adding the shade. I hope you all are enjoying the berry part more than the other parts. Out of this entire painting, all the elements, I really enjoyed creating the bokeh effect because it was something new I learned recently. I taught it in some other organization, and when Lynn liked it, I was happy that I can show it here too. Leaving a little shine here. Whenever you're working on smaller areas like a circle, like here we are working on the berries, try uh, that you add very less pressure on the brush so that you stay within the outline. Anything that goes out, just dab it with a paper towel, and that's what I'm doing very lightly with the paper towel. Now we'll work on the rest of the berries. I'll just focus on the ones that are left. I'm going slow. You all can work at your own pace.
Mm, okay.
So you can call it as wet on dry technique, but sometimes if you have less water on the brush, then it can be called as a dry on dry technique too, the way you did it for the branches. This branch got a little shorter, so I'm just taking some brown and connecting the berry. And then you can keep on working. Again, you don't need a consistent shade throughout all the berries. Some can get a little lighter, some can get a little darker. And I think I forgot a few branches which I'll just connect to. And then add the red shade. so quiet, everyone is concentrating. Now is the last lot of berries on the left. There are a few on the right too, but I felt that part was a little wet, so I'll do it after these. Okay. Now I'll go back to my right hand side ones because that background was a little wet, so I didn't want to take more chance there. Now it's dried. And once you are done with the shading and highlighting of your berries, you can give a darker touch around too. Like somewhere you can have a darker touch on the berry, somewhere you can have a lighter touch. For that, you will need your dry on dry technique. Let's just complete it and then we can add a little. So I'm adding highlight wherever I want to on the berries. It doesn't need to be on the same side always. Let's do it. So in case you want a little darker touch on one side and a lighter touch on the other side of the berry, though it won't be seen much, these are small little areas. Still, what you can do is clean your brush, the one that you are using, dip the tip of the brush in water, and try to apply a dry on dry technique with the same shade. Like here, if I really want to add a darker touch on this berry, I'll just add a darker version of the same color depending on the amount of water and color I'm taking to make one side darker than the other. Or you can take another shade like a darker red shade. This or this, the one I'm using. You can also use if you have a darker color there. Just go around on the edges and try to make it a little darker. So that way it's like seeing your painting in a perspective. Like on one side there is light falling, on the other side there's less light falling. So one side of the berry is darker than the other. And you can do it in all of them or some of the berries. And even if some color goes in the background, you can either dab it or a little bit of pink texture in the blue will not look bad. Once we are done with that, we'll start working. And you must be having your acrylic paint. We'll do a little bit of spattering there, which I call it as a magic touch. But before that, if you want to improvise, you want to add some more shade in your background, you can definitely add.
Hmm.
And if you want to darken the branches, this is the right time because your base is dried now, your background is completely dried. So you can use your um, dry on dry technique. I'm using some brown just to show you that you can do it after the berries are done. A little darker touch by tracing over the first layer of my branch, wherever you want a darker touch on the branch. So, with this painting, you have learned wet on wet, or you have kind of reviewed if you already knew these techniques. It's wet on wet technique, dry on dry technique, wet on dry technique, and layering, blending, creating a bokeh effect. And that's it. And that is not only applicable in this painting, you can apply it on any other painting that you would like to create. We can move to spattering. For spattering, I hope you all, I'll just keep this a little away so that I'll tell you what to do. Add a little bit of white acrylic paint on your mixing palette or on your paper plate. I always say less, but it squeezes out a little more. Uh, Clean your round paintbrush, the one which has less bristles and that is a little thin tipped, it is nicely tipped.
Mm.
Clean it. Firstly, we are not using any water, so we are just using the paint. With acrylics, we use least amount of water. So here we are not using any water and the color is quite liquidy. Just take some white shade on a dry, fine tipped paintbrush, that is your round paintbrush. Don't take too much. If you think it's too much, first check it on your paper plate or the mixing palette. All we need is we need a little bit of a snow effect on the branches. All you need to do is add small little dots one after the other. I'm not sure you all can see that on the screen. I'll try my best. Just add a few dots one after the other to give a texture of snow on the branches. Add very less pressure but make dots one after the other.
Mm.
And if you feel it's too less, add a little more, like this. Start with less, but if you feel you want to add more, take some more. No need to cover the entire branches, but a little bit around will help in giving some snow effect on your branches. And as Peggy was asking or saying, we can add some highlight on the berries, like a few dots to show that white effect which we try to create from the white section or from the paper itself. A few dots. And I hope I have told that before. This technique of adding dots one after the other or just one dot is called stippling. And it's just the art of adding dots to create a nice texture like snow effect, floral effect, leaves effect. And I think we have done it in previous watercolor paintings. Here I'm adding a little bit more of the snow effect and adding some highlights on the berries. Since we are making a winter scene, I think snow is a good element to add. And thank you, Lynn, for providing the acrylics along with watercolor. I'm just adding little more shine of snow on the branches. But we can also show the snow effect in the sky, that is the background.
Hmm.
And what we can do here is you can just easily take some paint, check it on the plate or the mixing palette, add
Hmm.
a few dots around, especially on the darker areas. They will be seen more. White will be seen more on the darker blue, but lesser on the lighter blue. Like here, you can see it more. It's just dots and stipples, some big, some small. You can also use your cotton swab. If you have a clean cotton swab, just touch your paint there. Don't dip it completely. Check it on the paper towel and add hints of snow with the help of your cotton swab. I hope you all can see that on the screen. If not, I think if you'll apply it on your painting, you can easily see it. I
I can see.
feel I can see it on my screen. Somewhere big, somewhere small. Just add a little snow effect. Whichever way is easy for you, whether it is with the cotton swab or your paintbrush. I'm bringing it a little far so that now you can see the entire painting. Now, here also, like if you want to add a little textured snow, you can have little white and keep on going around with the cotton swab and white color. It will give a nice white shine there. But there's one more way that you can add a little uneven dots to your painting or the background. That way is you can keep your paint on the paper plate as is. Take a little water. I'll show you. Take a little water on the brush itself, which you were using before for adding the stipples or dots. Add some white color. So now you're making it a little bit more liquidy, your white acrylic paint. Check it on the paper towel. It's kind of hit and miss. So if you want to try, you can try it on a separate sheet of paper or a rough sheet of paper and see if that effect works for you. And if you like it, then put it on your final painting. And we have done that with watercolors before. If you have done it before with me, I just put the paintbrush
Okay.
parallel to my painting, a little bit far from the
Oh,
painting.
like you did.
And what I do is I just tap it either with my finger on the handle of the brush or with
The
another
host.
paintbrush and keep on moving
Sweet.
your paintbrush and add that snowy effect or stipples. I'm not sure if you can see it on the screen, but I am getting it. Let me bring it a little closer and show you. Can you see a little bit of dotted, small little uneven dots forming around in the painting? If it's happening on your rough sheet and you like it, you can work with it on your final painting. For it to spatter nicely, you need to add a little water to the paint. But if you are just adding textured dots, you don't need water. You just need to add dots with the tip of your brush, paintbrush, or the cotton swab. Now,
Mhm.
if you feel white is not enough for your spatters, you can also use your blue watercolor paint the same way to add those spatters. One more thing I just want to show. I'm cleaning my round paintbrush. Just your choice if you want to do it or not. That is spattering with the same blue paint that you have used in the background. So, whichever paint you have used, light or dark, you can use it. Dip your entire paintbrush, that is the round one, in water and apply that water on either of the blue shades if you have a light one or a dark one. I'm working with a little lighter one here. I'm making that color a little bit less thick for it to spread on my paper. Before I apply it on my painting, I'm checking on my paper towel. I don't want it to be too dark. And I'm putting my brush parallel to my painting, placing it a little far. And what I'm doing is just tapping the handle of the brush or the neck of the brush and spattering and spreading the blue shade in small little dots. And it worked. Sometimes it doesn't work because your color is too thick, but sometimes it gets too big because you have too much thinning there. So before you apply it on your painting, check it on a paper or a rough page or your paper towel and then apply it on your painting. This was all that was required in this painting, but you can definitely add more layers to bring a darker touch to the painting. If you have applied your masking tape on the edges, now is the time to take it off. Make sure that you don't touch the painting yet because it's still a little wet with the spatters. I am always in a rush to take it off because I really want to see the clean edges. And it brings a lot of difference when you add and take off the masking tape.
Mm.
So
Mm.
that's how it looks.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Doesn't it seem like magic seeing your painting? It just started with a little outline and it came out. I hope you liked it. It came out pretty and you brought it into life. Um, Now, it took us an hour to do this painting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now we can
But
turn.
yes, but you can still continue if you feel like whenever you feel like you want to add more touches. Now is the time. If you have any questions, please let me know.